The note is written with a blue pencil on a piece of lined office paper. The kitchen magnets have left spots on its surface.
Does it say anything interesting?
This is tangential at best, but the lieutenant's detective instinct is still active. Someone has scribbled, S. I can't believe the off-site copy is still here. The illiterate ginger kid keeps stealing stuff from the studio, so I had to hide it somewhere safe. You'll find the filament memory with the off-site copy in the frozen ice cream maker. Please take it home, ASAP. It's important. I'd do it myself if I lived in a civilized place with a freezer. Take care, Suliswaf.
Sulislav. Wasn't he one of Miss Lukanen Kilda's co-workers? I remember coming across this name when we were reading her personal log. It belongs inside a radio computer, storing its memory. It's like a tape. You listen to disco tapes, right? It's like one of your disco tapes, only for a computer.
It's like the production schedule you found. Only this one's an off-site copy.
Really? You don't have a single guess? Oh, I'm sure that child would love to get his hands on a filament memory. Even if he doesn't know what to do with it, he'd probably try to pawn it for speed, based on our encounter. I don't know. I assume it's somewhere close to the ice bear fridge.
Didn't you see one right next to the breaker box? This orange machine is dead still. It has a hand-cranked ice cream churner and an electric freezer. The ice around it slowly melting. Turning the crank feels oddly satisfying, like stirring your childhood dreams. In the distance you hear water dripping. It's all gone now. You'll never become a poet or an entrepreneur. What better to assuage the creeping sense of failure than some frozen fat and sugar? Ice groans and howls under the strain of your giant Kavalzund multi-tool until the lid cracks open. Darkness lies inside, but you can faintly make out an object, intricate and foreign, left there for a sub-zero beauty sleep, a filament memory with the words off-site copy written on its side. Disappointment washes over you as you stare into the almost empty ice cream maker.
A scoop of ice cream would have been nice, yes.
You gently lift the cube from its frosty bedding, careful not to damage it.
We should take it back to Miss Lukanen Kilda as soon as possible. I'm not sure how well unused filaments tolerate room temperatures.
Yes, but aren't you curious to know what's on the precious filament? There's a radio computer upstairs. Tiles on the cube are still smoldering. Casting the framework like a smooth draw, the filament slides the speaker.
Good evening. Please repeat. Is this the production schedule? Good. Thank you. Please repeat. Good. Good.
Really? She just used the same password? Maybe those radio computer guys aren't that paranoid after all.
Fortress accident. Is there anything else I can do for you? Thank you.
Tiles on the cube are still smoldering, casting the framework in a soft glow. With a quiet determination, the printer starts printing, a piece of paper unfolding like a handheld fan. A black crystal. It's a project report written by the lead producer, Andrew Andy Schott, about Whirl Untethered, a radio game developed by Studio Fortress Accident. The first few pages give an overview of the capital and workforce, while the rest of it seems to be a production schedule. In its short time of existence, Fortress Accident SCA managed to burn through truly insane amounts of money. The first tranche of seed financing brought in 150,000 Riyal, but then came the delays. Eventually, the damage reached 400,000 Riyal, with only half of the game finished. 400,000 Riyal? These guys knew how to party. Let's just say it was a real adventure for their Egonian investor. Egonia, a godforsaken and tiny territory in Grad that has not once but twice wasted its independence on microfascism. The less said about Egonia, the better. Matter of fact, let's stop saying things about it right now and continue what we were doing. Fortress Accident employed 18 people, the bulk of the team composed of writers and concept artists. There were also radio programmers, sound engineers, a CEO, 2 marketing experts, and a single overburdened producer who developed a habit of popping Pyrrolidon in the basement to escape his obligations. But on the other hand, their obligations were piling up at an inhumane rate, a rate that could only be amended by Pyrrolidon. Why did Fortress Accident have so many concept artists? It didn't. No, definitely not. A few more producers could have come in handy though, especially when dealing with writers, some of whom routinely skipped work because of mental health issues and extremely unprofessional sleep schedules. One of them even managed to steal some valuable company property before skipping town for good. The production schedule depicts their glorious descent into bankruptcy. Not the concept artists. It wasn't even the writers. With their panic attacks and 3-hour lunches, it was impossible not to fail. The project was too large and no amount of money could satiate the ever-expanding ambitions of the development. They tried to make a 4 million real game with 400,000 in their bank account. They thought they could bridge the gap with pure willpower and imagination. They couldn't. Even then, success remained within an ever-narrowing margin of possibility that, despite everything, never entirely disappeared. That is, until they discovered the Valley of the Heads. At the 11th hour, the lead designer, Jimsk-born Sulisław Jalisa, decided that what Wirral Untethered needed was a secret mystical location at the extreme edge of the map. This place was to be the Valley of the Heads, where the heads of all the headless constructs could be found. The player would have been able to choose a head for their headless party member, and each head would have been voiced on air by a professional actor. The world had never seen their kind before, and might never again. So many. The last count, there were approximately 10,000 heads for 10,000 headless men, all of which could be endlessly recombined. Do you really want to know? There seems to be a calculation here, but it may take a while. The lieutenant taps his foot impatiently, his arms folded tight against his chest. He's dying for a cigarette. Come to think of it, you are too. And that's it. Well, yeah, that and the catastrophic data loss. On the nature of the data loss, there's ominously little information in the production log. It comes at the very end where things get fuzzy and dark, where tables and numbers seem to vanish into an eerie nothingness, before the Egonian investors pulled the plug. What is clear is that one day an unidentified numeric anomaly occurred on the East Insulindian Lintel front, just as the Wirral Untethered project was being compiled that day. When the project was returned, it was completely blank. The team spent weeks on the phone with Lintel, the service provider, but despite their diagnostics, they could never produce a satisfactory explanation or pay for the loss. Always read the terms of service. And let's face it, they didn't have any money left for a legal action. Mysteriously enough, it seems that the off-site copy happened to be on-site when the catastrophic data loss occurred. It was the lead programmer's responsibility to oversee weekly maintenance of the off-site copy and, well, keep it off-site. An explanatory note from the lead programmer has been attached. S. Luukkonen Kilda, the lead programmer of Fortress Accident. The off-site copy was on-site because there was no off-site anymore. Not for me, not after 8 months of crunch. I didn't have a home anymore, so I started keeping it in the basement in the ice bear refrigerator near where I went to sleep. It was perfectly safe there. The temperature conditions were optimal. Her former colleagues would agree with you. She's right, actually. Nothing wrong with keeping this type of filament memory in a fridge. The production schedule ends with a few random notes that seem to be added sometime later. 4 months later, by an unknown author. I am the only one left, and it's gotten rather damp here. A few other businesses have gone under too. Slipstream switched to making skis, and the hairdressers just left, cursing Martinez. They're right though. Something's seriously wrong with this place. Martinez, all of it. Still haven't got an answer from Lintel about what happened. All I could get were the physical coordinates of the error on the East Insulindian front on that day. Since the computation happened on air, I reckoned it had to coincide with an actually existing location. I have compared the coordinates to a map of Revachol West. Turns out it's only 800 meters from here. The address is Saint-Brun 1147. I am going there to look this thing in the eye. Saint-Brun 1147? That's what the street sign next to the church said. Tiles on the cube are still smoldering. The filament slides out of its glowing nest. Tiles on the cube are still smoldering. Like a smooth draw, the filament slides into place. On the keyboard, the play key starts blinking. The speaker comes to life. Static.
Good evening, please repeat. Is this the off? Good. No, that's not.
What does she mean? That's not it. Maybe it's the second part of the leitmotif you saw on the stained glass window.
Good. I've unlocked the offside copy. After ending the call, please.
Ka-ching.
Fortress Accident. Thank you.
Tiles on the cube are still It sounds like something cracks before the piece of paper starts filling up with pure black ink. Something's broken. Machines aren't supposed to behave like this. The filament slides out of its glowing nest. The paper is soaked with ink, its monochrome darkness spanning from margin to margin. It's not possible to make out any information.
Odd. Something is obviously broken here.
A single speck of white shines out from the shade. For some reason, the printer decided to spare this one tiny dot of paper. Marked by the devil itself. Looks like gibberish. Better get running again. This must be the information Sorna is looking for. She knows how to make sense of it. Tiles on the cube are still smoldering. Only the red cable is an electric system.
Yes, what is it? Yes? Wait, a note from whom? Did it specify where they took the filament memory? Jawiza. Of course! Our project lead, Suliswov Jawiza. God, he was always so hell-bent on keeping the copy somewhere safe. And feature creep, and the Valley of the Heads. Like it would have made a difference. The offsite copy was perfectly safe when the data loss happened. That data loss was anomalous. And the heads... I won't even get into the heads. Millions of them. Go find that copy from that ice cream maker, will you? Thanks.
Valley of 1,000 Heads. You like the sound of that.
Thanks. Looks like it's the one. Now I'm going to print it out to see what's left of it. A speck of white? That's exactly what I'm hoping to find. Lintel was able to divine the location of the anomaly from this broken copy. I want to repeat their calculation, only this time with better equipment. Watch. What an intricate display of failure.
The paper gets soaked in ink again. Its evil blackness shining in the light of the mainframe. It looks eerie. This is wrong. Machines shouldn't behave like that. Cold sweat trickles down your spine. This is spooky as hell. It's the abyss staring back at you. Sona doesn't reply, her hands running over the printout. She's looking for something. For her morning star. Eyes scouring the millimeters.
Here. I found it. Hold on. Shh. Just give me a second. I'm almost...
I've never witnessed a programmer work before.
done. I've got it. I found the location of the anomaly. I found the coordinates.
She's beaming. You can feel it in your heart. Great job.
Thank you. There, in the swallow. Think you can help me again? I need you to go move those water bolts for me. I need to double-check my calculations.
What an interesting proposition. Truly a task for the intellectuals, solving the puzzle of water bowls.
Figure it out? No. I don't need you to figure anything out. I've got a computer for that. Just walk over to the circle and follow my instructions. Move the third bowl 2 centimeters to the left, and the fourth bowl 5 centimeters to the right. This should do the trick.
What? She only wants you to follow instructions. Nothing intellectually stimulating. In this task, a child could do it. Yes, but you like moving things around. Moving things around is calming.
Thanks.
It's awfully silent again, as if someone turned off the entire world outside those walls. Water inside the bowls stands still. Measurements have been marked down around the bowls, each chalk-drawn line representing a centimeter on the floor. Oh boy, this is going to be good. It moves like a ghost without creating a single trace of sound. This task is an insult to your mental skills. Some water spills out of the bowl, wetting the floor. The lead programmer sends you an encouraging thumbs up from across the hall. Time to run back, or maybe walk. This is a sacred place after all.
Yes, what is it? Great. Everything should be aligned now.
Miss Know-It-All is hesitating.
Yeah, nothing. Now the only thing left to do is to unmute the headphones. If we got the location right, we should then be able to hear whatever sound this anomaly makes. Honestly, I'm a little scared. I don't know. That's what I'm scared of. I don't know. It could be anything. I mean, what sound does the nothing make? How can you even listen to something that doesn't exist? What if silence is only what surrounds it, but the swallow itself is... I don't know. I'm just scared. Maybe it's going to be something terrifying. Maybe it's going to tear the world apart.
Like that evil ink that filled the printout, erasing coherence and meaning.
Maybe. Maybe I'm just tired.
Let's think about this logically. Why would nothing be terrifying if it's, well, nothing?
Because it reminds us of death. And we humans tend to think that death is pretty scary.
Death is scary. You can't just start over again. Or can you?
Yeah, you're right. Let's do it.
The lieutenant takes a step back. And then, nothing. Nothing happens. As Sona Lokanen-Kilda presses unmute on her keyboard. Nothing but silence. You can hear some small animal cross the floor in the chancel. It's that quiet in the sanctuary. She doesn't answer. Her eyes closed and brows knitted together in a state of deep focus. One hand cupping the headphone.
Damn it! Yeah, nothing happened, let's move on.
Despite her fear, she was hoping for something extraordinary to take place.
No, my hypothesis was wrong. According to this, I should have heard something, if I got the coordinates right. Like I said, silence is only what surrounds it. But this is just another failure. Silence sounds like silence. That's all it is. You can try on the headphones. See if you can hear anything. But don't get your hopes up.
Silence is silence? You're sure there's more to it? This can't be it. You should have a listen. Everything disappears. You are draped in silence like a drowning man staring into his puny little headspace. And then the pressure changes. It feels like flying on an aerostatic, or when your ears pop, or like a subtle difference in the atmosphere, a weather change hanging in the air. What if the sound you're looking for is too low for you to hear it?
A better sound system? Alright, but where would we get one?
Suddenly, a rhythmic beat permeates the walls, causing a small patch of decorative stucco to crumble onto the wooden floor.
They should really allocate some renovation funds to this place.
No. What they really should do is shut down the disco men for disturbing neighborhood peace. You mean the speed freaks? Of course, the speed freaks. They have a fantastic sound system. And you think they would help me? I guess I could live through a week or two of peaceful coexistence.
Brilliant negotiating there, detective. As always.
Sure. Let me know how it goes. Thanks, officer.
The large-headed...
Good morning! Yeah! Huh? I see you're here again. Hi again. So, how things go? Yes? What's the deal? We are grateful, Copman. You're an augury of a new era of Nordic dance music. That's fine. We can manage. And you're still sure about keeping our little side business, right? Fine, we can make do. It's going to take us a bit to move our stuff inside. A couple of hours, maybe. Come check back later. Let's get moving.
worn and beaten wooden planks of the bench do not look overly comforting.
We can sit on benches after we've solved the murder. Let's go.
You can revisit the bench if you ever need to.
And intricate the pattern still. The front of this quarterly journal features a large satirical portrait of the late King Friesel. From the sides of his head, a pair of white antlers spread to the corners of the cover. Because Friesel was incompetent, foolish, and cruel. In short, the embodiment of everything the communards wished to overthrow. It's satire, you see. To your disappointment, there aren't any full-color pictures to direct your attention. Just column after column of closely set text, interrupted occasionally by little doodles in black and white. No advertisements, you notice. So who's funding this radical commentary? After rifling the pages with your thumb several times, you return to the table of contents. The magazine is divided into several sections. International developments, Kunst und Kultur, and local concerns. Just inside the cover, there's also an editor's note. Comrade, as you know, this journal takes its name from Mazov's immortal expression, Du cristal à la fumée. This was his way of describing the way the rigid, crystalline structures of capitalist ideology turned to smoke under communism. But, like the structures of capitalist ideology, we too are at risk of going à la fumée. Unlike many publications which are content to spoon-feed their readers reassuring drivel, La Fumée is committed to telling the radical truth, even when that truth may drive away potential subscribers. Only 4 issues in, and it sounds like they've already alienated their readership. Perhaps they've overestimated the market demand for this kind of commentary. So please, if you value our radical Mazovian perspective on contemporary politics, culture, and international affairs, please consider subscribing today. Yours in struggle, the editors.
What do you expect? It was laying around the office of the Debarders Union. They're probably bankrolling the thing.
You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before you. This section includes a long, tedious critique of the latest round of free trade negotiations between the EPIS nations and the Free State of Semenine. You also skip over an article about heavy fuel oil smuggling along the Messina border, something about bear wrestling in Samara, book riots in Yugograd. Whoa. Bear wrestling. Flip back to that. It seems to be part of a new public fitness initiative in the People's Republic of Samara, SRV, devised and promoted by none other than President Kanajinsky himself. According to this extremely credulous account, Uncle Sport, as he's affectionately known to his people, has recently decreed bear wrestling the national sport of the SRV. Based on the description in this article, he appears to be an extremely competent and democratically elected president. Sapormat Sport Kanajinsky is well into his 3rd decade as president of the SRV. Outside Samara, he's known for 3 things: brutal repression of internal dissent, monumental corruption, and a near pathological obsession with physical fitness. Don't forget the mustache, right? Like all Samaran men above the age of 40, President Kanajinsky wears a truly spectacular walrus mustache. It's quite straightforward. A standard match features 1 man, or in some cases woman, against 1 bear. 2 competitors, 1 ring, 5 rounds, or until incapacitation. According to the SRV's Ministry of Information, the program has been a tremendous success. Public support stands at 87%, And youth obesity and alcoholism rates are down 12% and 7% respectively. This is the SRV we're talking about. If you think those are the real numbers, there's probably a guy who wants to sell you a bridge in La Chute. What are you, a statistician? Did the moral intern send you on a fact-finding mission? This is the SRV party line, comrade.
The Samaran People's Republic? No, I should expect not. Why do you ask? I suppose that would be something to see.
You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before you. It takes a moment, but gradually it dawns on you that Kunst und Kultur must mean arts and culture. Why they decided to title this one section in Volda is beyond you. Obviously because it's cool to drop random phrases in foreign languages. It evokes a sense of recognition and fellowship among those privileged enough to understand. As you leaf through this section, you come across several reviews of recent radio plays, as well as a brief artist spotlight featuring a local artist identified only as CS. The main feature, though, is a long essay titled Tip Top Tournée, a critical Mazovian perspective. The Tip Top Tournée is an inter-Isolari racing series, mostly known for its high speeds, ludicrous sponsorship deals, and high death toll. In Revachol, it's held quadrennially on the prestigious Zero Carousel racing circuit. This so-called artist spotlight is really just a brief Q&A, made all the briefer by the subject's evident hostility to her interviewer. That certainly sounds like a certain delinquent youth who likes to harass you from her balcony. You think you're settling in for a relaxing recap of the most recent season, maybe sprinkled with some nice anecdotes about a few of the more colorful drivers. Instead, you find yourself skimming a 10,000-word feature about all the politically problematic aspects of Tip Top Tournée. Where to even start? For one, there's the crass commercialism of its sponsorships, and then there's the practically criminal emphasis on deadly motor crashes. So, all of it, basically. Oddly enough, this article has 2 bylines, Nasteb Encolada Bernal and Exilus Buka. There's no way those are real names. Have you ever met anyone named Exilus? Come on, they're plainly pseudonyms. More than that, they're likely anagrams. Under capitalism, the article says, every pursuit has its price. Every pleasure, even one as elemental as the joy of racing others around a track, is reduced to an advertising opportunity. Thus, the so-called tournée becomes a competition between increasingly meaningless brand signifiers. Your discount laundry detergent racing against a pack of Astra cigarettes, or even a Fritta. And that precisely is what's problematic about it. Were it not for the promise of random, spectacular violence, audiences would quickly lose interest. At the end of the day, it's the destruction of these 750,000 real races that you're really watching for. You see, one cannot avoid the conclusion that Tip Top Tournée is simply the apotheosis of spectacular entertainment under capitalism.
Ah, come on. Can this article read your mind? Well, there you have it. No reason to get hung up on the pretentious ramblings of a few young men. If I had to wager, I'd say they've never even seen the inside of a motor, much less a motor race. I take whatever they write with a large grain of salt.
You flip back to the front of the magazine. Unsurprisingly, much of this section is taken up with articles declaring unqualified support for the dock workers' strike. You skim the headlines. Paint the harbor red and white. Martinez tames the wild pines. a city in revolt. First, we take Martinez. Then we take La Delta. Finally, there's a brief article by the writer, G. Martin, accusing the owner of the Cape Side Apartments of illegally attempting to evict certain communist tenants simply for not having paid their rent. Ah, this must be Gaston's handiwork. According to these editorials, there can be no accommodation with the forces of international capital or their mucilaginous allies in the coalition. Why do communists love puerile insults? And they wonder why they're always being left out in the cold. Judging from the context, it's something very large and fundamental. You should probably know about it already. You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before you. She's whistling a melody, her trusty contact mic attached to a wooden pulpit. At the sound of your footsteps, she stops what she was doing and turns to you. That melody is oddly familiar. Why does it feel like some gang-related thing?
Hey there. I've been recording some new audio from all these beams and rafters. The sounds travelling through the wood are pretty cool. Creaks and stuff. Like you're underwater, you know? But like, underwater inside a tree. And no, it's got nothing to do with Contact Mike. No. I actually wanted to thank you for getting me and my friends in here. And we even found some new associates, such as they are. Good, I think. Noid is getting a read on the place. I think he finds the carpentry very impressive. Andre's been setting up the compressor and dancing. Egghead's been keeping the party up. He's got the stage under control. Sorna, the programmer, she's doing whatever she does behind that radio computer of hers. She doesn't talk to us much, and the Crabman hasn't shown himself, thank God.
Sure. You helped us out. I can repay the favour. What do you want to know? Ah, she's a bit odd, I have to say. Doesn't talk much. I'm not really sure how to vibe with her, you know? Seems like she's not in a very good mood most of the time. But earlier today she told me about Welkins, and she seemed oddly happy, like she had some idea with those little creatures. Some artistic idea. I didn't really listen, I was busy with my mic. Oh, the Crabman. Still gives me the creeps the way he moves. But he doesn't actually come down that much, just climbs around the rafters. I just tried to stay away from the Crabman. But he talks to Noid. They seem to have some thing going on. Beats me. Noid said they get along somehow. They're both crazy enough, I guess. Who knows? He doesn't really answer our questions, see? Not that it's easy to ask them. What are we supposed to do, yell up at the tower? Who do you want to know about? Andre? He's a cool guy. Doesn't really come off as one, but he is. To me, at least.
She rubs her sides, but not from cold. Her shoulders are relaxed. She must have taken a hit, or she's on an upswing.
He takes care of shit. Sorry. I mean, he's got a vision. For what life should be, you know? He tries to push things until everything falls into place. He's an organiser. Nothing. But then again, there's nothing to organise around here either. He really wants this church thing to work. Must have taken it as a sign when he found it abandoned like that. Said it was an augury. I don't know where he got that from. Andre's not super intelligent. I've never seen him so psyched about anything though. And he's often psyched. Looks sort of desperate, like it's his last chance or something. Or maybe he was just high. I mean, not that he does drugs, just high, you know? Yes. Anyway. Come to think of it, yes.
This is the first time You've heard her laugh.
He's in some kind of a self-destruction mode with that hair of his, bleaching it like that. Probably wants to get rid of it altogether. Yes. Who do you want to know about? He's a four-burger, I guess, like the rest of us. Okay, maybe not Egg, I don't know about him, but Noid and the rest are from Forburg, making the pilgrimage up north to visit the Elysium. He's real hardcore about the lifestyle. What do you mean do? Like for a living? He's a carpenter, trained and all. He's very good, he just doesn't have the mindset to work like that, in a shop somewhere. He abides by the hardcore, sir. You would have to ask him yourself. Sir, I abide by the law.
A strange feeling. Like before, when you caught her lying better than she should have. Every now and then, something feels off about the way she speaks. She doesn't exactly change tone, but you feel as though there's more about her than she lets on.
It's just something poor Forburg kids do every spring. To pass the time, we walk the entire length of Boogie Street, up to Jamrock, or as much as possible. I don't know, man. Have you been down Boogie Street? It's a little bewildering. Kind of. I'm gonna say yes. Okay, then you should go and take a look, I guess. Boogie Street is cool. It's got a lot of immigrants and all kinds of different people. Yeah, I hope you do. Who do you want to know about? What do you mean? Oh, that. He's the party boy. And Nordic music doesn't really do vocals in the traditional sense. Vocals are thought of as rock. That's to say they're a bit backward. No offence if you like rock music though. Rock music's cool by me.
Pachoo, pachoo, swish. Your credentials as the resident future man of Revachol are being questioned. Show her you're hip with the times, Gramps.
Yes, forever. Anyway, even if you don't have vocals, you still need someone to say something every now and then, right? To urge things on. That's where the party boy comes in. He basically just stands on the stage and dances and yells how awesome everything is. It's very catchy.
I understand. People are usually afraid to do things if others aren't already doing them. Dancing makes you dance, like sneezing makes you sneeze, or yawning makes you... Anyway.
Actually, we don't know where he's from, or who he is, really. One time we were out partying somewhere in backwater Forburg. Or maybe even Coal City, I can't remember. Maybe it was Coal City.
The worst of the banlieues. A wretched heap of closed-down mines, even west of Jamrock, on the dusty slope of Montmartin, the remotest possible area of Revachol. No one even wants to exploit those people anymore.
Egg was yelling along to some jam someone was spinning, all night long. Just kept yelling until he didn't have a shred of voice left. When the sun came up over the mines. There were mines? Yeah, it was in Coal City. Egg came with us. He made this wheezing puppy dog sound all the way back. Couldn't even speak. It was definitely Coal City, because it took us 2 days to walk back to the fort. He just wheezed the whole way. We never really asked why he came with us, or who he was. I think his name is Jermaine. People are sweet.
You can see it must have been a great night. The memory causes her to go silent for a moment or two. You wish you'd been there.
Who do you want to know about? Me? Again? I told you, I'm a silver bird.
There's that phrase again. Really reminds you of something.
It means I don't answer questions about myself. All right. There is. Is there a law that would stop me from lying, though?
That would depend on the circumstances.
Thank you. Sure.
O pasaro de agent. It flutters by your ear. It's what the Zemoyaki, the Gradian community in Revachol, call a person who never breaks under interrogation. It's an organized crime term.
Excuse me?
She's attempted to remain calm, but the phrase made her flinch.
What do you mean? Alright, my father was a Zemyaki. He died years ago. He was a bad man. Not a lot of good things to say about him and what he did. He bought the family a huge house, so we got to live, at least temporarily, in a giant castle in Jamrock. And then he died. What do you think? The competition came and took everything away. It was like in a war zone. So after his death, we had nothing left, and we were in danger. My mother had to change her name, mine too. We left it all behind. It was a stupid idea, and I'm still disappointed I came up with it.
Aren't there any local authorities who might look down on such activities?
I took that into account, of course. Coordinated the operation with the débardeurs, else they might get unhappy. Not in person, but I let them know. You can't do anything without the fat ones getting wind. It wasn't too difficult to convince them, really. It's a good thing you ended that mess, though. I felt I was turning Dadwise into a corrupt business person. Unpleasant.
Hear that? Set justice on its feet. Confront Everard. Come on, this is all fine. But you don't have anything on Everard now. That's not how these things work.
Do. It's for the best.
You got us in, cop. I can't believe you got us in.
With wonder in his sharp eyes.
Between you and me, I don't know if you've noticed this about me. I'm a little suspicious of authority. But you really came through for the hardcore underground.
Yes, you really came through for the hardcore underground. How come?
Andre is busy cutting some slightly less lame, but still quite ungainly shapes on the church floor, sweating profusely. Estelle using her contact mic to listen to a tree underwater. The one with the large head is blasting the dance track on repeat, while the stained glass window behind him is rattling from the bass. Sire, the tent. 'Twas a security risk. And in here, sanctuary. 'Twas only noble of you.
Okay.
What he means is, you can't possibly have handed them this real estate for such a flimsy reason. Then again, whatever keeps your nose out of the bottle and on the job.
It's a miracle of carpentry. Their bodies carved into total shapes. Now it can be something more. I don't say much anything as a carpenter anymore. They tried to make me into a reckoner and a leveller. Made me a bit manic, you know. I regret the time I dedicated to that profession and that worker collective. I say things more as a member of the hardcore side dance community these days. Why? You're a cop. I carry carpentry tools. That's right. The first settlers built it, plus 6 more like it, on the coast here. Was one of the first things they did. Must have been really scared of something, but I understand. Alone on an uninhabited archipelago, forced to face themselves and nature. Pre-industrial quantities of solitude. The sea, perhaps something more fundamental.
He means something paranatural. He must...
I would want to build a safe place for myself and my own as well. A cop who's into building critique. Okay then, this is folk DeLoreanism, lawmongerer. It's a subset of early DeLorean architecture. Total. Everything between an ancient concrete cathedral and a glass cube is DeLoreanism. This is just an homespun version of it. Folksy stuff. Early mass production. They made thousands like this. Does that help you out? Like that woman there. Vertical, thin, white. A false image of grandeur. The source of the system is up there. You're at the bottom. They really dug that power vertical. Like to show off large and intricate structures. Arches, spires. Put you down with them. They were really into painting everything white too. Virginal shit, you know. Marriage shit. Virtue and tyranny. Stands to reason it used to be white on the outside. Before the sea wind took all the paint off.
Year after year, flake after flake, whitewashed clean, then covered in green moss, slowly peeled by the wind. Your skin crawls from the sensation as you look around. It was probably white and gold with light red flower motifs. Part of you, assumed to be lost to nerve damage, knows this style to be Ubi DeLoreanism.
True. The herdsmen of the Ubi Sun Islands came here on the first boats. Their version of DeLoreanism could be what we're standing in.
The Ubi are known for their partiality to socialism and sheep. They come from an island called Ubi Suant, drifting in the Pale off the coast of Vespa. It's the only place in the world that has a question mark in its name. Things are not well there. It's an island of poverty and entropinetic collapse.
Dead bodies of perennial plants. Sigma functions have left this place. It's a good thing we came along. The spiritual collapse has been total. I saw some piglets suckling their dead mother. Have you heard this one, Cop Man? After a short while, they shuddered and went away. They had sensed that she could no longer see them and that she wasn't like them anymore. What they loved in their mother weren't her body, but whatever it was that made her body live. End of quote. This is an high-quality carcass. The power of anodic beats and hard bass is needed to reanimate it. A Sarai's man who lived a long time ago, an ancient hardcore brother. It never was. A 3,000-year-old regime of history, built by hundreds of generations of self-appointed intellectuals. It's false to the core.
The way he says it, the force in false core, is invested with 20 kilotons of disgust.
I only said unity. One word. Figures of authority always misquote you. Andre doesn't care about the Ecclesiastes. He just wants the operation to run smoothly. And Egg is a demi-beast. You shouldn't listen to what people say. You should listen to what they are. But were you wrong? The founding party is okay with everything. Look around. They don't have enough love for the human crew to oppose anything anymore. We're on our own.
That's still a lie. Reassert yourself.
Well,
Noid, man! Mellow out! Stop aggroing the law!
I'm sorry. Anodic dance music. Regular dance music wasn't hard enough. And yes, I do.
You know what this kind of stuff goes well with.
Only a little. All large human gatherings are narcotic. Ask any such undertaking in history, this included. Chemistry is true to its word.
There is a difference between narcotics and group elation. One kills you, the other does not.
The supercharged humanism that the innocentic system has been feeding us on giant city squares, that's not a drug. The sugar and wheat it feeds us is healthy.
Forget it. It will become an imbecilic discussion. You two continue. It's more hardcore that way.
I don't. Fuck her giving me the evil eye. No wonder. We have to get rid of it. Dismantle it. Can't dance with a giant mass murderer looking at ya. Not a good look for the club.
Mellow, man, mellow! No one's a mass murderer. This is a house of love. Mass murder on the floor!
She invented the beauty you're feeling. She and her glass cutters and iconographers. You set the standard, alright. Then you meet it. It's effective like that, but it is also very soft of core. That so-called beauty of hers. You may be onto something, Copper Man. She's got those mass-murdering hips. The world spirit does not have a body. It has organs. Hardcore is an organ of the world spirit. This Arno van Eyck track is an organ. The carpentry and glass cutting that built this house are also organs. She's a thief, if you ask me. An organ thief. All innocences are. Humanism leads to eating sugar and pigs. Humanism was invented to mass-produce billions of humans. Billions of humans can mass-produce hundreds of billions of pigs.
And many, many more tons of sugar.
She liked games. Her legacy, the thing we live in, isn't real life. It's a strategy for some kind of victory against a long-dead opponent. But, yo, I'm only annoyed. What do I know? No one says Arno van Eyck is a mass murderer. The Anodic pioneer Rietveld is not a mass murderer. He is not accused of mass murder. Likewise, no one says Jermaine Egghead or Andre are mass murderers. You can live entirely outside that suspicion. Billions of people go about not being guilty of mass murder. Just not her. There is. She is a party repellent and must be taken down before we can begin partying in here.
No, that's not it. It's something more. Something closer to your skin. The speed freak looks the same way. It is dark there in the back of the church. For a moment, the music echoes strangely.
I like this question, Cop Man. She did not live the life of a human. She lived like someone who's playing a game. The life of an operator. That's not the life that humans live. She was adored. Humans aren't. I don't know about you, but they hate me. And they do not think I'm innocent or some shit like that. Well, they loved her. They put all their love in her and forgot all about the rest of us.
What a strange choice of words. Caustic, overflowing with negativity.
Okay. Hard to say, Cop Man. Signs in here are distinctly wild. Gonna take a while before everything's properly synced. I did get to talk to the Crabman though. Anyway, he's been giving me kind of a psychic rundown of this place. Dude's seen some crazy shit, but he's actually a lot like us. The man picks up on stuff, and he knows a lot about the church. I got a lot to learn from him. Good thing you didn't squash him. Dead body, spirit entered. What is there to talk? Hard to say. I did get to talk anyway. Dude's seen some crazy. The man, good thing you didn't squash him. The Crabman's been lurking here for a while. He's experienced things. Things that give off bad signs. As far as we can tell, the Ubies built this place about 320 years ago as a sarcophagus. Not like a literal sarcophagus. I'm just being metaphorical. Encasement, confinement of something they were afraid of. Something new and unheard of on the Isla. I think that's what the Crabman is experiencing when he climbs around upstairs. Like, this is some old world shit the Ubies had heard about. I thought the best way to deal with it was to build a church. surrounding it, to contain it. I don't know. And it's not something they properly understood either, what it does. But it's what this Sona person is looking for and trying to measure. It'll be fruitless though. She won't be able to measure it. People like that always want to measure everything. All those things they really can't.
The wood creaks as a gale blows by. Outside, dust particles fall through the darkness, settling down on the age-bleached floorboards. The structure does not feel particularly durable.
No, it's pretty fucking unsound if you ask me. They should have built a club for anodic music around it instead. Anodic music will definitely contain whatever we're dealing with. And if it can't, well... Seems to be the trend around here, doesn't it? You can't measure shit like this. It's not like... substance. Like a concentric ring spreading out. The struggling villages. And that is what caused the communards to fail in defending the beachhead. Yeah, a lot of failure has gone down around here. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. It's not a thing we can answer, cop man. Even I have limits. I'm a limited size person. Maybe you can figure things out, cop man. I think we got on a good level here. The signs are syncing up well. Suspicious people are esoteric people. We don't go around spilling everything to Johnny Law. They don't call me Noid for nothing. It took us setting out for this whole enterprise to get our signs synced. It's short for paranoid. A reasonable question. Say I get hurt. I want to make sure it never happens again. So I analyse the situation. Exercise caution. Caution is suspicion. It'd be easier to list stuff I'm not suspicious of. I'm not suspicious of sound and colour. Mechanics and chemistry also have a trueness about them. Most anything else deceives. Wants to steal your life away.
This is a good, dangerous line of questioning. You should prod him on.
I don't have a top 10 list of things I'm most suspicious of, but if I had one, the left-right complex would be number 1. Number 2 would be their sole accomplishment, the pig-wheat paradigm.
Something is off here. You feel like it should be the other way around.
No, politics is an inert complex of daily corruption and inane think pieces. The real paradigm is economic, and it concerns pig and wheat. This is where the innovation happens. It's only a theory. I suspect they're breeding a pig-wheat hybrid. Probably in Grad. Mental illness is a term the powers use to homogenise people. I think I don't reach mental illness. I am merely politically ill, a suspicious element. I prefer not to. Both ask the wrong questions. Any spark of light from either one is accidental. Their combined movement's only concern is producing enough pig and wheat for everyone. The end goal of humanity. The original mistake was assuming that words have more being than bodies. That's what led us astray, far from our true lives, but we may yet find a way back.
Whatever this true life is, you feel it's the real centerpiece of this mythology.
It's our only shit. We should make better use of not being animals or cereal brain ourselves. Correct.
He can't help but doubt your sincerity in this matter. There is no other way. You are a police officer.
Precisely. The status quo doesn't need to be loved.
His eyes flicker.
A life is true if it's free from fear, an internal division among oneself. In others, mankind has seeds of greatness in it. A germinal will come, a return to trueness. It will be hardcore. Beats and bright lights to shatter falsehoods. Nerve impulses for the collective body. We are very much alike in basic structure. An hard enough beat would awaken everyone to a truer calling. In unity.
Just like that. The speed freak is right in your face, his eyes burning. His comrades look on worriedly. The young man is dead serious about this. Rejection of the right-left axis. Emphasis on unity. Appreciation of some primordial mode of being. What does that remind you of?
Nationalism, militarism, racism, and emphasis on a leader character are totally absent in hardcore. If some want to lead and others want to be led, I think they are welcome to it. Many non-Occidental cultures share a beat at their art. Thus, they are closer to true, hardcore life. There's just never been enough of them, and they had to rely on some extremely basic percussion. Utmost dedication, thoughts from the spinal cord, is a potent superlative as well.
The term also signifies certain varieties of pornography that depict penetration, just so you know.
Egghead usually has a better concept of the hardcore. He just really likes saying hardcore.
Hardcore!
That's a pretty hardcore coincidence, don't you think?
Yeah!
Oh yeah, sure thing. They're hardcore. You know what I think? I think man, woman, and child are arbitrary divisions which serve to bind humanity to serfdom. They're just clothes. It's just a style, you know, normal hard style. Anyone can wear it.
Dedicated, hyperactive, unified. You will have to add something of your own to understand this list of loosely formed qualities called hardcore. You need your own entry. Make it. Test your limits. Surpass them. Dance till you drop. Dance till you die, if you must. This is for your posse. They got to keep it up. They got to move. You are the major mic enforcer. Jumping around, as this sort of music requires, is actually a taxing physical activity and should be dignified with a sports suit. That's a good way to go.
Denarian Church, the place to be! Make some noise, my church people!
Vibrations thump through your blue soul. The music sounds much better in the church. A hawthorn tree on Rue de Saint-Gislain. Tangled in its branches, something bronze flutters in the wind. He stands on stage behind a table, nodding along to the music and waving his hand in the air. In front of him, the audio mixer, one reel spinning. The other reel deck is empty. Cables run hither and thither. On one side you see an
Tape! Yeah! Spins the tape until the space escape! Yeah! Alright! No! No, no! This is gonna make people scared! Keep it... Yeah! Yeah! Back on the case! No disgrace! Bring it down to party place! The first page of the second chapter!
Could it be? Maybe for him, you only have a chapter or two left in you. Last of the penultimate, more like.
Yeah, it's all set up, man. Can you already imagine 1,000 people in here? 10,000? Ecstatic vibrations, totally transcendent. And I've finished setting up the new compressor too. Now the only thing left to do is the name of the club. Will you do the honours, detective?
The name. Everything I managed to come up with sounds just wrong.
Andre's overthinking it.
Yes, you should do it, detective. It would be good for the signs.
Noid's right. You've helped us so much. It's the right thing to do.
How about something simple? Like the club?
Too modern and too ironic. We don't want ironic. We want real. Real and true and beautiful. Like a morning after the rave. Yakokata! Yakokata! The place to be!
Yeko Qatar, the zone of ecological catastrophe. That's too morbid, Egg. Got anything else?
Hardcore! Hardcore to the nigger! No, it has to be bigger than hardcore. Yes, it has to be even bigger than hardcore to the mega. It has to be bigger than the scene.
The amnesia.
Like the... I can't remember the name of the club, Amnesia.
Amnesia! It's not amnesia, guys.
I don't.
Good. We have too many opinions anyway.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't build a club, and I wouldn't name it either.
An underground place with no name? Sounds like something the Crabman would say.
We're not going with anything the Crabman would say.
Why not? The Crabman has ideas, Estelle. Ideas from another level of consciousness.
I don't care. I don't like the Crabman, and I don't like his ideas. His ideas are spooky. Next, please.
You have? Well, what's the name?
Like that DeLorean word for the world, you mean? Elysium.
But Disco Elysium? Isn't it wacky? Disco's kind of gone, isn't it?
The past is the future, but the future is dead. No, it's beautiful. Beautiful and brave. Like we want it to be.
And short. And memorable.
It's settled then. Everyone welcome to Disco Elysium.
Andre breaks into frenzied dance-like motion to celebrate the name. Someone turns up the beat. You should go with the flow. Join in on the experience. It feels good. It feels right. But what is this? What is this thing that Andre is doing with his limbs?
I'm dancing.
That soft core gyrating is supposed to be dancing?
Yes, my man.
Talk? What is there to talk about if you can express yourself with moves? Audio waves thump against your ribcage. The speaker setup makes everything sound much better. But there's a noticeable lack of something.
It's to express my individuality.
Is that a bald spot? It's hard to tell for sure with the fused together spikes, but it looks like he's balding.
Or because I'm balding, yes. I want to fuse the remains of my hair together before it leaves me. I want to show my hair. I don't give a fuck how old you think I am. I'm 20, not 20. Of course it is. Otherwise, I'd just be another poor guy with no education and no money. General issue, man. Now I'm all that, and I have radical spikes. Maybe it was a bad idea. Anyway.
You close your eyes and vacate your skull, leaving your brain to wonder, where did that little fluttering light go?
Total darkness. You sink down the darkest fathoms of your own personal deep, vertebrate by vertebrate, through the unformed skulls of your mind. Here it will begin. Who fucking cares? God? Where is your God? Oh, don't worry. The music's still there. It's you who is gone. This is a pivotal moment. Try not to piss yourself. Nothing. Just the immaculate silence of your spinal fluid. Electrified. Who fucking... No, not good. Orgasmic.
I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. Every vertebrae in your spine is an unformed skull ready to pop up and replace the old one. Like shark teeth. The one you're currently in has a little brain forming in it, waiting for its turn to rule the world. Yes, it's all true. In the spinal cord.
From what I can see, it's about to bust a move.
Foolhardy! Do you even know what's happening on the surface? Maybe 1,000 years have passed. Or maybe you started spazzing out like 2 seconds ago.
With your eyes still closed, the first thing you feel, all the way back in the pivoting darkness of your own torso, is warmth. You have become a triumph of rhythmoplastics, somewhere in a smelly wooden church on the coast of Revachol. The wounds from the war you waged on your body are healing, twist by twist, turn by turn. You must have touched upon an entirely new way of moving the human body. Every motion is pumping your brain full of endorphins. Open your eyes to the pioneering glory of hard style. As you open your eyes, you should scream, hyper, hyper. It seems appropriate. You have become a flawless interlocking mechanism, a flesh and bone approximation of the throb coming from the speaker setup of the one called eggheads, entirely, rigidly imbecile, without pity or fear. Free from self-awareness, no deliberation, only, and I mean only, execution.
Oh my god! No way!
With his reel-to-reel mixer blasting the anthem of a future that will never come, the young man observes your moves for a second. He throws a screwdriver and a bunch of drill chucks into the corner and explodes into dance. What he lacks in sharpness, he more than makes up for in violent enthusiasm. The young woman lifts her headphones up slightly and raises her chin, looking at you expectantly.
Asil? Aren't you going to dance?
No, recording.
The lead programmer throws the other young woman a knowing glance before turning her attention back to her own work. She's still at her mainframe, pressing buttons, reading printouts, but she started bobbing her head along to the music. The young man immediately bounces up and down, then assumes the same dance pattern, embellishing it with some sort of waving motion. The authority of the law is clearly unquestionable.
What's going on here? Delinquents.
This is clearly a Code 31 emergency. The lieutenant squeezes the bridge of his nose. The lights reflect off his glasses. He's obviously having trouble adjusting to this new reality.
A Code 31 emergency? Really?
The lieutenant crosses his arms with a bemused look.
What's happening?
for you. Rock on, then. What?
Who's the one in charge? You are.
Are you kidding me? Get my what on?
Sheesh, okay.
Okay, you psychopath. I see what you're doing there. It's jacked up footwork, plus is that Ubi folk dancing?
Nah, it's not Ubi folk. It's hardcore.
Yeah, whatever. Oh yeah? I did 15 years in the juvenile crime unit. I can do age inappropriate. Now, check this shit out.
The lieutenant begins to heel kick the church floor with such intensity, it's reasonable to fear he'll kick a hole right through it, causing the floor to crack and the pillars to collapse, bringing the church roof down on all of you. It doesn't look like he'd give a shit either. The dynamic motion of your flailing body is bordering on the extreme. You're going off the charts. You feel as if turning on the hyperdrive would be a point of no return. Feels almost minimal. Are you sure you have the entire pussy along for this?
Here we go again. Hardcore fills the air. The sound above my head.
What now? The sound above your what?
Above my hair, man.
Okay, this is too imbecilic. Excuse me.
On the coast of the Martinez Inlet, in a small weather-beaten stave church built 380 years ago by settlers from the Occident, most likely to guard against an anomaly at its center, an officer of the RCM is contorting his body into idiotically rigid shapes as he invents the future of dance music. It's the hardest anyone has ever danced.
I am La Revacholière. I am the city. I am a fragment of the world spirit, the genius Loki of Revachol. My heart is the wind corridor. The bottom of my hair is red. I have 100,000 luminous arms. Come morning, I carry industrial dust and let it settle on tree leaves. I shake the dust from those leaves and onto your coat. I've seen you. I've seen you. I've seen you with her. And I've seen you without her. I've seen you on the crescent of the hill. The modulations of my voice are noted down with thermometers and barometers. You feel me in your nostrils, on the little hairs on the back of your neck. I also reside in your lungs and vestigial organs. Everywhere there is space.
All this eloquence, it's in service of something. She's afraid.
Death. It is terrifying. I need you to protect me from death. I cannot perish. Look at me. I cannot end. In 22 years, the first shot will be fired. Not a shot from a gun. An atomic device that will level all of me. All of me. You are an officer of the citizens' militia. You move through my streets freely in motor carriages and on foot. You have access to the hidden places. You also circulate among those who are hidden. I need you. You can keep me on this earth. Be vigilant. I love you.
An officer of the RCM is lying on the floor of a small church with his eyes rolled back and his tongue lolling out. Several others are standing around him. He slowly comes to.
Had a good rest there?
Fuck yeah!
I bet you did. Those were some advanced moves, man.
That's all great, but we should really get going. We spent enough time doing aerobic exercise for today.
You might be imagining it, but it feels like Egghead turned the volume down. Such is his respect.
Man! Now, man! Now imagine if we could do that, right? But with like 1,000 people. End of human development. Mission complete. All right.
You're absolutely beat. Muscles relaxed and feet like noodles underneath.
Goodbye, officer.
Yes, what is it?
What? What did you say? I can't hear you! The music is too loud! Oh, the project! It's not going well! There's that guy! I need him to plug a 3.5 cable into the auxiliary input so that I can route the audio signal through the mixer into the speakers. He doesn't listen to me! He only ever seems to care about hardcore and Yekokata! A place to be, apparently! Thanks! Maybe you can get through his magic rhymes! Let me know how it goes!
Auxiliary! What kind of a cable does she use? 3.5 or 4.5? Oh, she uses 3.5. Yeah. The auxiliary lining is 4.5 millimeter. These two don't mix.
Oh no, we're going to be in this church forever.
Don't worry, I have an adapter for it right here. Hang on, this is a 4.5. We're all good, people!
Whoa, thank God. Adapters noticeably degrade the sound quality.
Great! Someone got through to him! Okay, let's get it all set up. Can we turn the music off, please?
Everybody! Everybody! Don't panic! I'm going to turn off the on-off for just a sec. For a special scheduled event. The on-off will be back, but we're doing something else for one moment. Alright, go tell us that Egghead is ready to rave to her tunes. And then I'll turn off the music.
Yes, what is it?
Okay, but think you can ask him to turn the volume down a bit? Just in case.
Maximum! Maximum is the only way!
I know it is, but could you please turn it down just this instance? Just this one time? Maximum is not the only way, okay?
Pump it to the brick! Pump it to the hard master! There's no other way! Glue style!
Glue style? Okay, there literally is no other way. The mixing desk is glued to maximum.
See? He pumps it to the hard master. It's hopeless.
Because I'm afraid that something might happen. It's an unknown phenomenon. We can always turn it back up if there's a need.
Can't turn down the hardcore!
Of course it is.
Yeah! Permanent enlightenment! Ray of sound!
Never mind then. Let's get on with our project. I'm going to unmute the speakers on a count of 5. Everyone ready?
Egghead pumps his hand up in the air, waiting for the beat to drop.
Born ready. Ready.
I'm ready if you two are detectives.
The lieutenant nods stoically. Not so stoically. His hand moves to the gun holster. Suddenly, your palms are sweaty. The church seems cold and large, somehow. There's tightness in your chest. Anxiety.
What?
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mute disengaged.
No wind outside, no waves, no floorboards creaking. Total, continuous silence. This is unnatural. The woman looks around. In the silence, you see dust move on the floorboards. The driver of the speaker vibrates in the air and then stops. Plasterwork begins to crumble down the walls. In the silence, a low hum starts creeping up your spine. It's a song inside you, not in the speakers, not in the room. A great bass sigh in the basement of your mind. Slowly, it builds until the air around you starts to vibrate. It's out there now, in the world, made manifest. It will devour everything. The floorboards, the glass, the streets and the people. Nothing will remain.
Guys, what's going on?
This fragile world is about to break.
It's getting louder.
In the basins, the water looks like it's boiling.
Hosiana! Mother of Mega!
In his mind, a tidal wave approaching from afar, swallowing entire coastlines on its way. Salvation. He's peaking, the worst high he's ever been on.
The beauty and the beat! The future of dance! Planetary!
No, Egg! It's the window!
In the corner of your eye, the lieutenant steps aside, cautiously, his eyes searching for a possible evacuation route.
The window is going to come down. No, the roof!
Cracks appear on the stained glass window. Cracks run up the wooden pillars in the dark.
Come down to us! Love!
Below it, all the bass grows, like the jaws of a giant compressor gnawing on metal and wood. It does not sound benevolent at all. It's shaking the building's foundation. The floor twists. A great pulse arises in your flesh.
That's it. I'm muting it. Shit! It doesn't stop. A seal? Have you?
Yes, I've turned it off. Andre, pull the compressor! The place is gonna come down!
Fuck! I can't shut it up. The signal's passed. It's not in here. It's...
In the mixing desk now, building into a positive feedback loop. This is it. A great roar. The vault of the roof twists above you. Glass shatters somewhere near the door. It's coming down. And then it stops. Totally and utterly. As if there never was a sound. Only your ears still ring from the shock. Everybody is staring at Egghead, holding a dangling cable in his hand. A black 3-pin connector.
Egg.
I pulled the plug. It was getting too hardcore.
You did good, Egg. Most of the place seems to be intact. Fucking hell. Programmer lady, tell me you were recording that.
4 years. 22 people. Millions of reals. All that time. This is what we were up against. Just erased it. Suliswolf isn't gonna believe this.
Yeah, but did you record it though? It was dope. I think we can use it.
Yes, Andre. I recorded it. Damn, I need to send some letters now. Thank you all for doing this. Eggman, you too. And you, officer. I don't know what we've discovered, but I know what it sounds like now. That's a start.
It was very hard not to. I think you're right. There is something going on here. And you need to be very careful with it.
I promise, officer. We will not play it again. It was mathematical information from the anomaly, presented as a waveform. That's what it was technically. Theoretically, I have no idea. I've never even heard of anything like this.
Her voice seems muffled in the silent church. It's your ears adjusting after the exposure.
Yes, our lead designer. And maybe some of the producers too. And some of the writers. If they're sober enough to open a transmission. They need to hear.
That it wasn't her fault. Or theirs.
They need to hear about this. Don't worry, I won't send the recording. Although I doubt they have the speakers to produce the frequency anyway. Stay here. I'm going to stay here with these lunatics. Send letters, maybe meet Suliswolf. Also devise further measurements.
I want you to know that's totally chill with us.
I don't care, but thank you anyway.
That's the best she can manage for Andre. It's quite a lot in truth. For her, at least.
Now, I have a theory to come up with. Some kind of preliminary explanation to all this. Or the letter will sound like I've lost my mind.
Yes, and we have to get back to stabilizing Martinez. Instead of demolishing it with loud bass noise of unknown origins.
Some tiny hard thing lets go in your stomach. You're still alive. You have an explanation for all this. Somewhere deep in you, you know. The person you were knows. You don't have to. You already have. A long time ago. These thoughts formed in you somewhere, in a long-forgotten discussion, behind a kitchen table, in the evening light, drinking coffee and smoking, with a friend and a woman. She was there too. Her hair smelled of shampoo and she was smoking.
What? But Pale isn't here. We're thousands of kilometers from the edge.
That comforts her. She looks up into the darkness under the nave, then back at you. You have her full, undivided attention. The lieutenant's, too. He takes his glasses off.
Then, what is that?
It's nothing. No, it's less than nothing. No.
Then the Pale is... But the gradient, it clearly hasn't started yet. We're here, and the Pale is not. I understand. A theory of the Pale where instead of an outer ocean, it metastasizes, like a cancer or a mold, erupting in points inside the world. According to this, how long... And information, causing data losses in the East Insulindian front. Have you considered why it's formed in a church? And also when or how it might start growing, or if it has other effects, in addition to sound and data?
An intellectual hunger fills her now, casting fear aside.
I also have a question, since we're piling them on. How do you know this? I'm not doubting you. I'm simply curious as to how a detective of the RCM
knows how to think this.
Of course! A pinewood sarcophagus, or a containment facility of some kind, built by the first settlers. I have considered the same. The bad news is, there were 7 pinewood churches built in the first decade of provincial set. Most of them were burnt down during the revolution, or repurposed before, during the suzerain. I'm not saying all of them have one in them, but...
Some of them might. A black grain hanging in the air.
You think the presence of that puncture has somehow influenced the outcome of events here? Even say software development.
She already made up her mind when she heard it. Some kind of great and uncaring force had to play a part. It wasn't only them.
I told the producers we need to go and move to a normal office building with amenities. But no, the artists like the milieu, the writers like the history. I told them. You mean Plaisance and the Dice Maker? There was almost no one left when we packed up. Then go tell them.
An amateur anthropomedic police officer. I'd like to say I've heard stranger things, but I'm not sure. This is a hell of a guess, however. Well worded, I might add.
Yes, it is very interesting. But I wouldn't say you know. This is a guess. One that's going to have to be proved by anthroponetic scientists.
She falls silent. The wind blows in through the hole in the stained glass window, cold and moist.
I'm going to leave that out. But the rest, some of this I can use to start to explain this to the rest of the team. Maybe I'll sound mad, but...
Man, you will certainly sound mad.
One more thing. Maybe a club for anodic music isn't the worst thing you can erect around this particular point in space.
Yeah! Once the light is on in the universe, it will never go out!
Thank you, Egghead. Let's leave it at that, shall we? We have an anthropomedic detection to perform in this district.
The creepy woman! We were wondering about that when we worked there, but I had completely forgotten about it ever since. It must be anthroponetic crosstalk, the one you get in radios and long-distance calls. Now it makes sense, with the pail right on the doorstep.
Incredible. This would also explain why we get it on the police radio all the time.
It's quite common, actually. When the signal gets routed through pail, all kinds of irregularities take place. You may hear snippets of someone else's conversation, or the voice of your former lover, or an echo of an event that took place 100 years ago. Pale is a shroud of memories, and it doesn't really distinguish to whom those memories belong to. You could hear anything, anytime,